Yeah, I was looking at just going back to NME again. I was looking at videos from the NME Awards 20 years ago, um, and there's one of you there. But like, how
Uh,
would you get on it? How would you get on at events like that? I don't know. Did you mix well with other bands type thing?
oh no, I fucking hated everyone. I hated everyone. I was so antisocial back then. You know, if I hadn't gone on tour with you, like the Cribs and Kaiser Chiefs, I was tight with, but I would just like. But I remember that NME Awards. So that is that the one? There's two NME Awards. There's one when I got back from straight off the flight from Japan, and I just looked like shit. I mean, I looked like absolutely dead. This is must be post 2006, and I've got like some like weird patterned sort of tie on or something,
Silky
and
suit going on, yeah.
yeah, some kind of thing like that. And then and I just look like I've been like smoking crack for a week, but I'd just been on the flight to Japan from Japan, and they put a fucking poster of me in the NME from that night, like literally a big fold out, like honestly like a full size poster of me just looking like absolute shit. But the time must have told this story about the first time I went to the NME Awards
Don't think so.
when so I went there. I hadn't not signed, not anything, or maybe we just got signed, but we hadn't released anything. And the Libertines played, and Pete was reading out of a book on the drum riser during the guitar solo, and I was like, oh, "Fucking what a pretend," just like what was that? Come on, mate. Although actually now in retrospect, I actually think it's quite cool and funny. But like at the time, I was just like, "Oh, that's so pretentious, man." Anyway, I went with my girlfriend at the time. We travelled back to Brighton on the train, and I was going, "Fucking Libertines! What the guy's so pretentious. What a dickhead." And then I hear from like the other, it was that old carriages where there was sort of two, one here and one sort of staggered. And I hear, excuse me, yeah, that's my band. I'm like, what? Yeah, I'm Carl. That's you're talking about my band. And I actually, I was like, yeah, I thought you guys were amazing, but I did think reading the book during the guitar solo was a little bit performative. And anyway, I was like, well, I'm in a band called the Ordinary Boys, and I was like, I had a cassette tape in my pocket, so I gave it to him, and then we toured with him. They literally took us on tour. It was like the Cribs, us, and them.
Oh,
Like
amazing.
from that, that was my awards ceremony. But yeah, I was never like, I'm good friends with Donny Tourette out here
Oh, yeah.
because he works in TV, so he lives in LA. And he was exactly the opposite, where he would be like talking to everyone, like, and I only know this from his experiences of us talking about the same events that we'd gone to, and I would sort of, stand at the back and kind of like, see Kelly Osbourne in the distance and just be like, oh, Kelly Osbourne. Whereas he told me about the same night where he ended up going to a hotel with Kelly Osbourne and I don't know, whatever. So I never was. I think the Ordinary Boys. We always felt very sort of separate from everyone. I don't know why. I think maybe we were part. We were more like part of like a hardcore scene or like the sort of punk scene in Brighton. So that was always sort of our scene. And then when we got successful or like did went to London and sold out and whatever, then I think we were so sort of rejected by that scene, which now I've sort of made peace with all those people, and like some of them are in our horn section now. We have like a full horn section now when we play, which is so sick. But so we've all sort of, time has made that seem like a ridiculous thing for us to fall out for that reason. But I yeah, I think because of that we like never felt we always felt like kind of like we just sort of felt like outsiders a little bit. I'm sure that just explains sort of a lot of the sort of story of the band. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure
So
a lot of
yeah,
bands did there, but yeah.
yeah, 100%. And actually, we did. Then like Kasabian. We ended up being really like we were really tight with them on one of the Japanese tours, and like once like you just sort of sometimes with bands you sort of assume that everyone's going to be like not nice, and then actually everyone's really nice and normal, and you just think they're going to be like, even the one, sort of, especially the ones that put on this, like, this. Shall I tell you who's always slagging me off is Johnny Borrell.
All right.
He said I destroyed indie or something. I'm like, amazing to give me that much sort of kudos, but anyway, and he said some other bullshit about me. I don't know, whatever. But then um, my my friend, my one of my like one of my best friends in England is friends with their mums are friends, and apparently he's like the sweetest guy. And I'm like, well, why is he trying to pretend he's like mean and being horrible to me? But
Yeah,
um,
last time you were on, you said you went to chat to them at a festival or something, and they weren't having it or something.
oh yeah, there you go. Not that I've got, not me with a chip on my shoulder about Johnny Burrell. I don't know, because I'm fucking nice, and he's nice. So why can't we just be nice together? But I don't know. Or maybe I'm sure we'll play a festival again. I don't know. I'll get him a box of Quality Street or whatever.
Yeah, just talk to Andy. He's the nice one anyway. The
Okay, yeah,
drummer.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. He's he the one he played for Ricky Gervais, right? Is that
Yeah,
true?
yeah. He's a
Yeah, yeah,
songwriter as well, I think. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He seems cool. All right, well that's good. I'll go straight for Andy.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting about Donny though, because you must have a lot of relatable experience. Yeah.
Well, this is I was just we follow each other on well, we had followed each other on Instagram. We like I don't know, we started following each other 5 years ago or something. Less than that, 3 years ago, because he's the reason I moved to LA. But I just said, hello, we have very parallel lives. Let's go for coffee. And we did, and we just instantly hit it off. And he was like, I'm moving to LA, and I was like, oh, I should do that. And then I just did. But no, I feel like I've got quite a lot of friends from just like I'm really. But do you know the cartoonist Chris Simpson's artist?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So he's like ended up being one of my like best friends in the world.
Right.
I actually did the music for his cartoon that he's just released a cartoon. I did the music for it. Anyway, he's just like we've worked on another project together. But anyway, he followed me on Twitter years ago, and I was like, and I just said, "Oh, it's cool that you follow me on Twitter." And we just started chatting, and he said, "Come and visit me in Scotland, where I live." And I was like, "All right," and I did. And this is like 10, 15 years ago, and he's been my best friend, since then. Um, I've made a lot of my friends just from like questioning people as to why they follow me on on Twitter. But